Level 1. Junior Media Assistant. You slide the cup of instant coffee aside beside the old laptop. You tape the cracked phone corner before leaving. With chargers sticking from the backpack, you run for the bus. You adjust the thrift store blazer in the cloudy bus stop glass. Past the retail strip sign below the office, you climb the narrow staircase. You switch on the old monitor in the empty morning office. You copy UTM tags into the spreadsheet, every letter checked against the ad account. Through the frozen browser, you export the campaign report. You write client call notes on the back of a media plan. Under the senior strategist's headset, you stay silent about falling leads. You check the Form Submit event inside the Tag Manager preview window. Every 10 minutes, you refresh the report with red cells. You read the pay envelope after the office manager says, $4,900 per month. You highlight the extra character in code with the cursor. Beside the low-budget shoot, you carry the box of props. You hold the silver reflector in the parking lot. Rows of glowing monitors fill the empty office with alarming ad dashboards. You pick up the printout with 0 leads from your desk. Before the Monday review, you stare at the form with an empty counter. You freeze with both hands hovering above the keyboard. You inspect the tag firing history for the missing analytics event. At the open director's door, you take the order to fix everything before morning. You eat from the plastic noodle container beside the keyboard. Under the wall clock at 2:17, you keep working in the empty office. You run a test form submission into the real-time view. In the broken office chair, you lean back with a weak laugh. You stuff tangled chargers into the backpack before employees arrive. You lean into the client's ad account over the live spend counter. Level 2. Paid Search Specialist. You build a keyword list on the external monitor by buyer intent. You place the compact espresso machine on the cleaner apartment kitchen shelf. With clean sneakers tied, you head toward the co-working office. You lock the second-hand electric scooter at the glass entrance. At the long co-working table, you lay out laptop, headphones, and notebook. You rewrite the ad headline line around price, pain, and CTA. You open the unfinished creatives folder after the designer rejects the deadline. From the report, you collect negative keywords into a list. You set the daily budget field above your old weekly pay. You separate cold traffic from retargeting in the audience segmentation panel. Under the founder's hand on the chairback, you face the 5-minute sales demand. Launch day fills the war table with a Shopify sales screen and climbing spend. You refresh the campaign dashboard under minute-by-minute spend. You lower the expensive keyword on the bid adjustment slider. On the payroll notice, you read $6,250 per month after payroll confirms. You read the quick revision message in the shared chat. You stack the list of extra tasks from ad sets, page edits, and free revisions. On the testing matrix, you mark necessary changes. You open the late-night client message demanding one more report. With removed headphones on the table, you close your eyes. You stare at the senior's hand on your laptop after the unpaid work order. Inside the Hero section editor, you revise the landing page. You keep the laptop open late by the cleaner's cart. You screenshot the scope document with the excluded work line highlighted. On the stairwell landing, you type a message into the phone. You press the mute button before naming the change request. At the highlighted scope line, you point the founder back to boundaries. You ride home on glowing scooter wheels through glassy streets. You stick the charge for changes note to the monitor. Inside the proposal template, you add a paid change order line. Level 3. Account Strategist. You start the morning at the triple-screen home setup. You close the MacBook Pro before the first client ride. With the new watch fastened, you check the performance call time. You scroll through client notes beside the rideshare window. Across 3 charts, you turn raw campaign numbers into a founder story. You hold the sales leads notebook under the demand for more leads. In the showroom, you handle the product sample. You walk between warehouse boxes for SKU margin answers. You mark the cheaper product for profit on the SKU margin sheet. A giant showroom screen shows slowing sales among samples, boxes, and executives. You point to the stack of delayed orders during the founder's blame. You lead the weekly performance call through the speakerphone. On the budget allocation bar, you move spend into retargeting. You hang framed campaign screenshots on the apartment wall. With the gym membership card, you enter after a night launch. You spread storyboard cards under the creative director's old hook argument. You show the heat map overlay beside the shipping price drop-off. After the call, you sign the action item list for 3 teams. You read the sealed promotion letter after HR says $9,100 per month. At the founder's fist on the table, you hold the scale now pressure. You build the funnel map from first click to repeat purchase. You ride toward the studio tripod for new product ads. Across the studio table, you sort hook cards, benefits, and objections. You stop the take clapper before the late product reveal. Inside the warehouse, tablets show packed orders, filmed content, and live sales. You grip the operations manager's radio during the overloaded shift warning. At night, you open 3 client dashboards like a dispatcher. You trace creative fatigue on the CTR trend line. On the doubled CAC metric, you face the flattened launch. You kick the chair back before the entire room. Beside the screen, you stand under the founder's demand for sales. You assemble backup videos into an emergency creative swap. You turn off disabled ad toggles without closing your eyes. Under the table, you count empty coffee cups after the rebuild. You slap the metal door with your palm. You launch new ads with the reduced test budget. Across the finance manager's calculator, you explain yesterday's profit. You draw a volatility plan on the napkin between calls. You leave shoes by the door at dawn. At the wall of screenshots, you face trophies from an easier game. You place the sticky note beside the laptop. Winning ad dies. You pin the first emergency playbook inside the volatility systems folder. Level 4. Senior Growth Lead. You turn the junior's report toward the team for a firm breakdown. You place used sedan keys on the new apartment entry counter. Over the chair, you hang the quality coat. You raise the standing desk controls on the agency floor. You edit the 6-month plan deck for budget, creative, and funnel alignment. Across the CMO brand book, you defend aggressive performance language. You check junior work covered in red comments before review. By the wall, you set the premium carry-on bag before the shoot. A creative testing wall covers the room with hooks, thumbnails, shots, and segments. You rearrange customer pain cards away from beauty-first frames. You study the freelancer invoice during the prepayment fight. With the boardroom marker, you lead the local client pitch. You read the promotion review form after finance says, $13,400 per month. You open the leather restaurant menu at a real client dinner. On the spend allocation chart, you push budget toward faster signal. You stand beside the box of delayed assets during partner office blame. Between conference rooms, you hold the hallway notebook for the junior media buyer. You hold the call sheet for every product demo scene. On the alternative shot list, you request a test against the control. You point at the director's monitor during the test variable argument. Agency floor screens show client calls, creative review, and live rescue at once. You close one failing account inside the Slack alert stack. On your phone, you read the invitation notification beside the urgent launch thread. You face the unread Slack flood at night. You throw the phone onto the couch. At the family table photo, you stare at the empty chair. You build the rescue dashboard with every junior assigned a campaign zone. You lead the midnight video grid under dark office windows. Beside your keyboard, you flatten the crumpled restaurant napkin. You open the office vent window in silence. You disable the expensive segment toggle to pull the launch from decline. At the closed bonus spreadsheet, you hear the owner delay upside. You study the revenue recovery graph for value saved to someone else's balance sheet. In the owner's parking space, you watch the new car arrive. You lift the carry-on by the door for someone else's victory trip. You write the first audit package inside the independent offers folder. Level 5. Independent Performance Consultant. You sit alone beside the premium co-working pass. You open the new laptop box beside the old machine. With the better phone in hand, you insert the SIM card. You record the Loom bar over leaks in someone else's ad account. From the cafe corner table, you send cold emails to niche brands. You hold the unsigned retainer under the founder's growth guarantee demand. You fix the landing page copy block live on the call. Before the train, you fold fitted shirts into good luggage. You set luggage on the upgraded hotel room rack. At the lobby corner outlet, you build a temporary office. You draw the growth system on the client's tablet. You stare at the blank creative brief during the copywriter's demand. On the quarterly planning notes, your accountant confirms $18,000 per month. A hotel room launch runs across 2 laptops, the TV dashboard, and bedspread samples. You take the speakerphone call over the ad account. You rewrite the offer stack note into 3 friction-cutting lines. With 3 simultaneous call alerts, you face the solo capacity collapse. You rent the studio light for the 2-hour product shoot. You give the actor the hook formula card instead of a long script. On the table, you sort product samples, receipts, and business cards. You open the overdue payment notice under crowded freelancer bills. On the wet sidewalk, you leave the cafe without an umbrella. You answer the incoming editor call about payment timing. You pay freelancer invoices with your personal bank card. At the hotel bathroom sink, you scrub the stained shirt. You rebuild the client pipeline board around on-time payers. By the window, you laugh too sharply into the phone. You hold the price proposal with the fee unchanged. You roll good luggage at the train platform with no team beside you. Around the train station board, 3 client calls surround you. You write in the notebook, "Don't sell hours, build the bench." You press the Publish Vacancy button for the first permanent team member role. Level 6. Boutique Agency Founder. A 5-person team surrounds the giant dashboard during 3 time zone launches. You open the studio office door beside the branded studio wall. You count 5 team laptops with matching agency stickers. At the stand-up board, you assign the designer, media buyer, copywriter, and account manager. You point to the split-screen ad preview during the hook versus signal argument. You rebuild the onboarding checklist before launch access breaks. Beside the studio pass, you set down the leased SUV keys. You welcome the client into the glass meeting room. Across the conference table, you plate the catered pitch lunch before the proposal. You lead from the system pitch deck instead of loose ads. You mark the price comparison sheet during the freelancer cost question. On the access request form, you check signed payment terms. The bookkeeper prints the owner draw receipt showing $25,000 per month. You teach from the thumbnail grid, tests before portfolio polish. You point at the ugly winning ad during the visual quality argument. Before payroll, you check cash against the payroll calendar. You place framed case studies on the shelf. Behind the glass partition, a call, edit, dashboard review, and presentation collide. You close the red client folder on the bad fit client. You push the closed client folder away with the fit decision spoken. On the service agreement clause, you add revision and response boundaries. You conduct the interview on the sofa beside the branded wall. You read the candidate resume during the remote-only request. On the meeting room door, you place the Client in-house sign. You review the client profit sheet by retainer and margin. Before the triple launch, you assemble the launch checklist. You pull up in the clean leased SUV with client chute boxes. You hold the missing prop order during the vendor deadline failure. On the digital mock-up screen, you replace the missing props. Glowing studio windows turn the office into a command center above the street. You send the trusted freelancer brief with the final asset pack. You watch the gray freelancer avatar in the final edit thread. At the missing final file, you face the overnight rebuild. You slap the conference table once. At the launch time card, you hear the video versus hook argument. You cut old footage on the timeline into emergency angles. Across the export progress bar, you supervise banners, ads, and client status. You step over catered lunchboxes left on the floor. You circle the SUV once in the empty parking lot. On the morning client call, you answer for the 10-minute margin. You list 3 verified specialists per key role on the backup roster. You lead the post-mortem at the whiteboard. On the wall, you write, "No single point of failure." You switch off the branded sign after the team leaves. You create the org chart with leads, backups, and deadline owners. Level 7. Specialized Agency Owner. You open the skyline window beside the custom suit. You get into the practical luxury car for the niche workshop. At the office espresso bar, you place framed case studies on the shelf. You cut weak services from the niche offer deck. You point to the old services list during the department lead's resistance. At the strategy room board, you build one e-commerce growth system. In the fulfillment center, forklifts move, packing lines run, and tablets show orders. At the packing line chart, you connect ad pushes to capacity. You face the warehouse director's vest during the stop promotion demand. You check the boarding pass for the 3rd client HQ of the month. At the airport lounge table, you open call notes properly. On the folded seat tray, you read retainer negotiation questions. You mark the procurement comparison packet during vendor pricing pressure. You show the cohort profit chart instead of vanity metrics. During the credit review, the banker points to $45,000 per month in the binder. Production corner lights cover UGC, product shots, and founder ads at once. Inside the standing lead circle, you run updates without laptop hiding. You hold the support chat printout during the account lead's complaint. You introduce the client tier board by retainer level. On the wall, you replace the old promise with a niche scorecard. You fasten the custom suit cuff before the industry dinner. By the restaurant candle, you answer the competitor's niche risk challenge. You write retention napkin math with margin and launch speed numbers. You walk the polished office with lead update cards. From the balcony rail, you watch clients below the lit production bay. You read the market alert message before the annual client meeting. You open the paused budget email from the first client. At the emergency room marker, you gather finance, sales, and ops. You read the second paused budget email inside the newly expensive office. You throw the jacket over a chair. Across the runway spreadsheet, you face the finance lead's warning. You cut weak services from the services cut list. You call top clients from the strategic reset list. At the espresso bar, you touch the cold cups left by absent leads. You step to the floor announcement mic with the new plan. You watch open strategy rooms split sales, creative, and analytics into responses. During the senior strategist demand, you read the operations director profile. You build the management layer map between delivery and leadership. You interview leaders using the leadership interview sheet. Late at night, you enter the dark skyline apartment. You place the lounge card beside the note. Stability greater than growth. You read the accountant warning note about operating discipline. With the department margin template, you introduce weekly lead review. You view the morning agency floor like multiple engines under one machine. You sign the operations offer for the first real operations director. Level 8. Multi-team agency principal. You take the executive assistant folder with the black car waiting downstairs. You enter the chauffeured black car with high-end luggage. In the car, you place 6 voice notes from department leads. Full-floor wall screens show department performance while teams cross glass rooms. You run the leadership stand-up sheet around risks, decisions, and owners. You open the enterprise deal folder during the sales capacity clash. On your wrist, you angle the premium watch toward the stage timing screen. You enter the private meeting suite for board-level guests. Across the procurement nameplates, you lead the negotiation. You review the redlined MSA after legal counsel cuts performance language. You reshape the deal structure on the phased rollout diagram. Across the client campus atrium, stakeholder groups wait on separate floors. You look through the airplane window toward the satellite office city. You place high-end luggage beside the suit for the ribbon meeting. During quality of earnings, you face the $90,000 per month compensation challenge. You review the hiring budget request from the local office lead. You build the city launch plan with roles, target, and pipeline. At the quarterly summit stage, giant screens surround staff, logos, and live boards. At the stage clicker, you hold department heads to results. You watch the creative reel screen light the team's faces. You stop the head of media at the margin hidden slide. On the empty stage mark, you hold silence after the hard question. You shift the operating system slide toward forecast, margin, utilization, and accountability. You meet the acquisition target above the boardroom city view. At the churn report envelope, you face the upfront cash demand. You ask from the acquisition diligence list about earnout, retention, and concentration. Evening office corridors show separate teams working like machines. You take the 3-city itinerary at the elevator. You return to the penthouse balcony above the city lights. The next morning, you speak into the conference microphone before founders and CMOs. During the lost craft question, you tap the competitor badge. You answer with the testing system graphic. You read the short ops message with no margin attachment. On the payroll day calendar, you mark the enterprise overtime request. You open the hidden margin report during payroll week. You reach the operations floor door with every number demanded open. Across the forecast gap chart, you face the operations lead and finance director. You separate accounts on the profitability triage board. For 1 hour, crisis command screens pull sales, ops, finance, and delivery together. You use the enterprise call headset to move non-critical work. You take the sales forecast tablet during the short-term revenue argument. After restructuring, you lift the fingerprinted coffee cup from the table. You introduce the operating cadence board for margin, capacity, escalation, and visible numbers. At the curb, you pass the waiting car after everyone leaves. You write, "Complexity is the product now," on the glass wall note. You create the leadership council chart for every city, department, and acquisition target. Level 9. Digital Agency Group Founder. You start at the penthouse home office desk above the city skyline. You face the tailored wardrobe before the international flight. At arrivals, you read the driver tablet with the agency group name. International lounge screens show markets, flights, and client cities around moving executives. You join the city leads call through the aircraft headset. You mark weak links on the printed multi-city ops map. With the operator standards binder, you face the autonomy demand. You pass the lobby art piece beside the group logo. You overlook the multi-floor atrium of creative, analytics, sales, and leadership rooms. In the buyer model printout, the partner frames $175,000 per month into controlled owner cash. You walk the taped floor route through bays, pods, and leadership rooms. You build the enterprise system on the magnetic board. At the CEO boardroom chair, you field the AI writes ads question. You explain strategy, workflow, and implementation through the AI workflow diagram. At client headquarters, executives wait beside the panoramic boardroom window. You sign the master service agreement for several business units. You push back on the global rate card with outcome-based structure. On the glowing wall map, you mark newly active countries. You enter the headquarters black car outside the glass entrance. You prepare at the second city boarding gate to inspect the acquisition target. In 3 studio bays, creators film while founders present a reel on the wall. You face the studio founder cap during the Culture Factory Fear. You offer the integration plan folder with craft tied to distribution. Among cameras and cables, you read the PE buyer message. You open the PE partner notebook during the margin pressure discussion. You show the leadership bench chart before refusing speed without operator depth. At the council video wall, you hear city heads report in matched structures. You read the global operations screen across offices, campaigns, and production feeds. You sort the AI concept stack, fast pages empty in your hands. At the AI concept table, you challenge the cheap, good enough argument. You stop the camera for 5 minutes inside the studio bay. By the light stand, old craft and young systems collide in one argument. You assign squads across the wall-sized workflow board. At the analyst review station, you check client-ready AI-assisted insights. You watch training hall rows fill with employees learning new workflows. In the cross-office review, you hold the old hours model sheet. You redesign incentives on the business outcome chart. You inspect the metal group plaque at the main office entrance. In a tailored coat, you climb to the mezzanine railing. You watch glass call rooms handle enterprise decisions without approval. Behind one sales pod wall, creators reset lights while analysts flag spend. You read multi-country alerts across the analytics team's screen. You hold the operator question card about day-to-day control. With a nod, you hand the tablet to the operator. You stand at the group entrance plaque before the working system. From the Empire wall map, studio bays film ads, analysts watch live spend, account teams work behind glass, and city offices glow under one name.